Excellent. Okay, right. I got involved in the internet back. The first thing I ever sent on the internet was an email, and that was in 1977. Okay, and I used to work in Swansea University, and we used to communicate with the University of California, and it used to take about 8 hours to send an A4 sheet through the internet. Okay, now that's the technology. It's improved immensely since then, of course, as you know. And it used to be sent through all the underwater cables that used to go across the Atlantic. And it was expensive. It was very expensive. But that was a long time ago. Everything's improved immensely. And since the mid-90s, the internet has become this commercial opportunity. It's a way of communicating. It's everything about it. But no matter what technology you place in it, the fundamental thing is that it is human beings that are using it. All the technology is hidden in the background, and there's lots of things going on there. One of the things from your perspective, and all businesses in manufacturing, is understanding the way humans use the internet and what their journey looks like as a buyer, as an inquirer. And one of the things that I've done a lot of work on is trying to understand that process. And I've spent 20 years at this now, because at the end of the day, the person who's going to buy your products, your services, are human beings. And that brings with it a whole mess of emotions, of moods, of elations, of all types of things. And it's important to understand that, because humans are totally unpredictable. Now, it's great to say, well, we can watch what they do and then we can predict what they do based on what they've done in the past. Now, one of the things I've also found out about humans is they might do that in the past, but they may not necessarily do it in the future. Okay, and things change all the time. And you've got to keep leveling at that to understand how you deal with them and how you find them and how you use content, pathways, and other things to get them to come to your website rather than go to a competitor. We're going to talk about the journey that the customer takes. And this is, right, the first part of any journey is not knowing. We all start off in ignorance. Now, that doesn't mean we're stupid or anything else. It just means we've never learned this thing before. And so when you're on a journey moving towards the purchase of something, you start off, I didn't know it existed. I'm sure you've got examples in your own head, if you think about it, of when you've seen an article about something and you think, wow, that's brilliant, that really sort my problem out. And then you start investigating, then this discovery and engagement takes place. Now, from a business perspective, you need to lay out the touch points. You need to create the articles that people will see in their journeys through the internet and other things, to give them touch points that they will see it, and suddenly they'll be in that discovery mode as well. So they've moved from not knowing into this discovery mode. Once they get into discovery mode, they start doing research. We all do it, because you see something, you think, oh, I better find out about that. And you start doing a bit of search, you start looking about all the options that are available to you, and you move forward on your journey. And then comes the interest and the desire, because the more you've researched, the more you think this is going to solve my problems. But do you go to the company that you're on track with, or do you go to another one? And that's where you as a company have got to try and keep people, once they get on that path, you've got to keep them on that path and direct them to your website. Okay, and then keep them engaged there, because you've given them the answers to the questions that they're going to ask. And the odd thing is, have you worked in sales, Karen? And have you found that with a particular product, when you ask, when someone phones up and, you know, in that process of talking to them, have you found that the customer, or all the different customers, they always come up with about 10 basic questions? Like you said to me in the little prelim, people ask one question and then they ask another question, say, well, do people still use boilers? Okay, so can you see it? So you know probably the first 10 questions anyone's going to ask, no matter what direction they come from. So produce content that answers those questions. Okay, there's a solution for that. Okay, and provide it within the website or through your blog posts or through your Twitter posts and everything else. Give them the answers, because if they've got the answers, they think, oh gosh, that's interesting, right? We'll move on to that. And then comes this negotiation phase. Okay, once they've got the interest and the desire, they think, oh, this is going to solve my problem. This is going to help me. They go into a negotiation phase, and everyone says to me, oh, well, yeah, well, you don't want them to negotiate with you straight away like that because they're trying to reduce the price. I said, no, it's got nothing to do with you as the seller, as the company. The negotiation is with themselves. Okay, and if it's a purchasing manager in a company, he's probably got to go back to the boardroom and negotiate with the board to say, I think this is the best option for us. So you've got to help them sell it to their board. You've got to help them sell it to themselves. Okay, and that's something that people forget about. They think, oh, we'll just put in this widget here to do this, and we get the team down there. And people are just, with a lot of websites, are just order takers. No one's really selling anymore. I'm sure it's different in manufacturing because it's much more focused. Okay, whereas in general retail, it's all over the place. Once they've negotiated with themselves, and again, it could be that they either invest in a new boiler, and I'll use you as an example. We'll come to you shortly, Whitney. We'll use you as an example on the boiler side of things, and you'll say to yourself, "Oh, boilers, right? Do I invest in a boiler that will be more efficient and reduce my fuel costs? Or do I invest it in solar power and put a battery in and use electric heating?" Okay, so there's possibly there to help them with their negotiations with themselves. An article could go in your blog post on something like which is the cheapest, a boiler and better to work, a boiler or a gas boiler or an oil boiler or electric solar panels, electric heating around the place, and which is the best option. So, you know, it's understanding how the customer moves through their purchasing journey with your particular products helps you to create the content that they need to have to answer their questions, so they can make the negotiation. Bear with me. Let's give Whitney an opportunity to have some information as well. Oh, oil and gas. Oh, see, you two should be talking to each other anyway, because she's selling the oil and gas that helps to make your boilers work. Just put your thumbs up, Whitney, if that's true. Okay, oil and gas. I've actually had a look at your websites. Okay, and one of the things I will say is, and I hope you don't mind this, Whitney, you can talk to me separately afterwards, but one of the difficulties is I'm not quite sure what you actually sell, but I know it's downstream. You're not on the oil rigs and things, you're downstream, it's in the processing plants and things like that. Okay, so we can go back to that at some other stage. If you'd like to talk to me separately, I'm quite happy to give you a half an hour or something, just to have a chat. Okay, so
Nigel,
yeah,
double check the chat, because I think she's answering you in the chat.
Oh yeah, oh sorry, give me a second, let's go and check. Oh, you know Karen, okay, that's great. We don't, the equipment to sample it, right, I've got it. To odorize natural gas, there we are, so people don't stick their heads in the ovens. Okay, right, once you've gone through this, they've gone through this negotiation, then they'll move on to the purchasing phase, and then there'll be the delivery and all the after sale service things that you can put into that. I've only gone up to the purchase at the moment, but there's a whole raft of steps after the purchase, which many companies forget to do. Once they've sold a maintenance contract, and then they've forgotten about that client, they've moved on to another one. But there's loads of opportunities of turning that first-time purchase client into an advocate for the business. So they will promote it to other organizations, which is always useful. Okay, one thing also that people forget is that it's all about the decisions. At every step of the customer's journey, they will make a decision. Do I continue or do I go somewhere else? And the job for the seller, you, is to help them make their decisions, okay, to buy, okay, or to move on to the next step and buy. Okay, that's quite a simple, straightforward one, that one is. Any questions on that?
I do.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the touch points,
Yeah.
and then the 10 questions that a purchaser would have, do you answer those questions ahead of time with the touch points, kind of like anticipating the question and addressing it before he or she even verbalizes it?
Yes.
Okay.
A very straight answer to that is yes, because you can create content that may address it for the customer that's buying, but also when they read through the information on your website, when they read the articles in your blog posts and the other things that you push out there, it gives them the opportunity to say, oh gosh, that's okay, right, that's one of the questions, but you need to know the questions. Okay, and as you said, you have to deal with the customer. So I always say, pick the phone up and talk to them, or take them out for a bite to eat or a coffee or something or other, and just say, oh, so what are your big questions? And talk to the customers you've already got. They've gone through the process. Why do they stick with you? Okay, and those are that's. I'm in the middle of writing a book about all this. I'm up to about 50,000 words, but I've still got a little way to go. But one of the things I thought back to is when I had my first Saturday job, and it was working in a tool shop. And the interesting thing about it is I got all manner of customers coming in, and nobody would go and talk to the customer. And the customer didn't want to talk to the person unless they knew exactly what they wanted. But a lot of people are quite confused. They don't know quite what they want. And I always used to go up to people and say, are you having difficulty? Can I help in any way? And okay, some people say, no, I'm having no problems at all. But usually I'd be polite and everything else. And I'd start to talk to them about the circumstances of why they're buying something, what are the circumstances to that. And this is one of the problems with the internet and websites is it's impersonal. It's at a distance, it's arm's length. And you can't really understand what the customer is thinking about. You can buy all the technology you like to watch them going through, making purchases, ticking boxes and everything else. But what are they thinking? What mood are they in? How do they feel emotionally? And people forget about those sides of things when it's all mechanical. It's all take this box, put your money in here, pay your credit card, sign the contract, whatever it is, bang, the job's done. And I think that it's losing that element of purchase and it's definitely losing the skills for selling. Okay, so what are your customers buying? You know what you sell. You're selling boilers, aren't you, Karen?
Mm-hmm.
You're selling instrumentation. Okay, but what are your customers actually buying?
No doubt. Not certain. Well, we'll use certainty for lack of a better term. Certainty of no downtime.
Yeah. So they're looking for efficiency. They're looking for low cost heating, because I'm assuming if it's a boiler, it's going to warm something up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they don't want to have a maintenance guy working full time, just keeping an eye on the boiler. They want someone to just pop in or an alarm to go off if something critical happens. If the gas supply is interrupted because of something happening down the road and the gas supply stops, it's not going to put the whole system at risk. That when the gas comes back on again, it'll light up and blow the whole house up or something, or the building or the factory or whatever. So the reason for buying isn't necessarily about warming.
No.
Okay, yeah. And it's the same with the instrumentation that you do, Whitney. The people are buying it for other reasons. They're buying it possibly to get more information in for a lower cost, or get more direct information and faster sampling rates because of the equipment that you produce. I think I saw something about filtration systems you've got there. So it's about filtering things, taking moisture out of gas or oil. I'm not sure. I was a little confused. I know a little bit about the oil industry, but not a great deal. With the boilers, it's also about reducing cost.
Mhm.
So do you mention things about cost reduction about in your articles? And I say to do this in your for your touch points in your blog posts and news items, and then cascade that out or broadcast it out through social media, through your Twitter
Okay.
and your LinkedIn pages.
Low
Okay.
cost and efficiency high. Efficiency is high on the list, but one that's really big, especially for customers out on the West Coast, is sustainability, like low NOx
Yeah.
emissions and things
Yeah.
like that.
So, and you've got filtration systems to sort that out.
Yes.
Yeah. I see you've got an idea from that one. Have you, Whitney? I think so. Right. Oh, another chat thing. Money, profit, yes. Odorization prevention, unnecessary leaks, public safety. Yes, we also have some ESG products. Brilliant. Okay, so your customers aren't necessarily buying what you're selling. Okay, you know, at face value, yes, it is. They buy that product, they buy the boiler, but it isn't necessarily because it warms things up. It's about the efficiencies. So you've got to take those into consideration in the way you write your content and your articles. But it helps you to understand those customers, why they're buying, more profits for them, because the boilers are being used for a process line. Is that correct? Great.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. So think about that. Some of your articles should be about increased productivity. Some of your content should be about that, because you're addressing the questions that the production companies who use the boilers for their process lines. As you said, I think you mentioned food lines.
Food processing, yeah.
Food processing, yeah. So what do they want? They want those guys. They want to get more buns per therm of gas, okay, or liter of oil, more, you know, and also the controllability. All these things are important to them. And one of the things we're going to look at a little bit later is about competitors. Okay, is to know what your competitors are doing. Okay, have you done a competitor analysis or of your online analysis of other people's?
I did a brief one on SEO results and the complexity of their websites.
Yeah.
Some are eating our lunch, and some not are doing worse than we are.
Yeah.
Which is good for us.
Yeah, no. And this is something that they were discussing websites in USA Manufacturing Hour earlier. And I was tapping away, and I had so much to say about it. And this is where you're probably aware of this, Whitney, is that when I've looked at tens of thousands over the last 20 years, tens of thousands of websites, and I actually have it in the book I published back in 2008. I said in there, the problem with the internet is this great, huge, massive, very, very long high street. Okay. Or we call them a high street. You call them, what do you call it? Main Street.
Main Street, okay.
And it's got every business in it who've got a website. But the problem is that 99% of those websites or shops, okay, have the lights turned off, the shutters down, and gone to lunch on the door. Okay, they're not effective for what they're really meant to do. And that is why people like Amazon, people like eBay, and all these other big companies are growing massively, because they're addressing the issue of the customer. In manufacturing, the vast majority of our competitors will be running like snails. Okay, so all you have to do is run a little bit faster. Okay, you've got to be a tortoise, so you go a little bit faster than them. And that's the brilliant thing about it, is you can look at their websites because they're in the public domain. You can analyze the things that they're doing, and over a short period of time, you can work out, okay, they're doing this, we need to do this, because it's going to be faster, better, more informative for our customers. And it isn't about having all these bouncing balls and fancy rotating carousels on your websites, because they're a bit of a distraction. No one's going to hang around long enough. to read a rotating carousel. Do you do it? Yeah. So majority of other people don't either, because you think about your customer, the person who's making the purchase or looking or doing the research. They are thinking about, oh, I got to get this job done. Okay, I've got half an hour before my next meeting, and I need to get this information right. Let's have a look. I need to get it. And they're searching around the website, can't find the information. It's not there, the things they need. And so they go, oh, I'll forget that one. I'll go to the next site. And suddenly you've lost everything, because even though you've worked hard to get it with your search engine optimization to get to the top of the search engines, nobody's interested in looking at it, because it's not being presented in the way they're looking for it. And okay, you can say everybody's the same, everyone's different, so they look at different bits of information, but it's important to understand that if you haven't got the information there in the first place, it's not easy to access, people will just leave. Okay, and that's, and it's a fundamental. Okay, we did the what did you sell? Okay, so we know what you sell. Ask yourself the question, is this the same? What people buy, is it the same? And I'm going to give an example here about Starbucks. I chose Starbucks because they're all over the States, they're all over the UK, so at least everyone understands what they are. Okay, what do they sell? They sell coffees and drinks, but they also sell cakes, overpriced toasted sandwiches, merchandise, reusable coffee cups, loyalty reward schemes, convenience, delivery service, coffee beans. But what do people buy? Status, display of wealth. You might think, what? A $9 mocha choco waka with a big flake in it. Okay, it is a display of wealth, because the question I always ask people, and I'll ask you this, Karen, you don't have to answer it. Where do you sit when you go to a Starbucks? I'm assuming you go to Starbucks.
I don't.
You don't. Wonderful.
But I see people when they get it, they sit by the window.
Exactly.
Or by the door.
Exactly. And why are they sitting by the window?
So people can see them as they come in.
Exactly. And every time I get people on that one, when I got a large, I love doing it because I fold a piece of paper and on it's written in the window, and I give that to somebody at the front of the class. Okay, and I say, don't open that until I ask you to. Okay, and then I do this thing and I say, where do you all sit? And all the hands go up, sitting in the window. And I say, why do you sit in the window? Oh, so I can watch the world go by. I said, is that true? How many of you sit in the window so you can watch the world go by? Part of it is true, but I say the real reason why you sit there is because you're hoping that one of your friends is going to walk past to see that you spent £6-7 on a coffee because you can afford to. Okay. The other thing is, it's part of their lifestyle. Look, I go to Starbucks. Have you ever tasted Starbucks coffee?
Yes, that's why I don't drink it.
I think I spoke to an American many years ago when I was talking about this, and I said, oh, perhaps we'll meet in Starbucks. He said, oh God, no. Do you know what they call them in America? Charbucks, because they burn the coffee.
They do.
Yeah. Oh, Italian coffee. I got a lovely blend that comes from. Thank you, Whitney. Yeah, and the thing is, what is great for the buyer, and this is what Starbucks understand, is they want to have something that's got lots of window seats. They want something that's got this nice lifestyle, which is consistent, is predictable, whichever shop you go into. They've provided a workspace because they want to bring in the cool crowd for hot desk games. They give free Wi-Fi, and yeah, people go in and buy coffee and snacks. They also go into coffee shops, because you think about it, why do they pay $6, $10 for a coffee when you can make one at home for probably a couple of cents? Okay, but the reason why is it is this display. It's it's quite an inexpensive display of wealth for many people. And one thing they noticed, that even when the lockdowns, okay, and back in 2008, when the financial crisis hit, people cut back on lots of big purchases, but the one thing they didn't cut back on is going to a coffee shop.
Yep. Because
it was that one little treat they could have, and they'd meet up with friends. It's a meeting place, because everybody who goes to Starbucks is all hip and cool. Okay, and see, you start to get into the heads of these people now, because everybody does things for more than one reason, and it's not necessarily just to buy, it's also about their own personal image. Okay, I'm assuming they do the same in America, is when they have the value products in a supermarket, that it's usually a gross color, it's bright yellow or it's striped. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you know why?
I want to say to not to discourage, but not to entice.
No, it's definitely to discourage people from buying.
Because then it would announce that you can't afford the other
exactly
stuff.
You can't afford real food, you've got to buy this this value product. Okay, and that's why a lot of supermarkets, they only put up a certain amount on display, so they're seen to be doing something, but they're not actually wanting to sell it because their margins are so thin on it. Okay, so
interesting.
And this is one of the things about marketing, and I'm probably be called a heretic for saying this, but in marketing, it's more about the nudge, and getting inside the heads of your customers and playing them to make a purchase, to go into that side of things.
Say that one more time.
It's more of about getting inside the heads of the customers, and it's what lots of marketing departments do. They get inside the customer, they try to understand them as much as possible. Okay, because they want to be able to psychologically nudge them into spending more money, committing more, signing up, buying into whatever it is that they're selling. Okay, it is this. It sounds unethical, but it's about business. And the thing is, as long as you feel, what's the word? You know, I see it in so many different brands, the way they sell stuff and the tricks that they play. I mean, it's like, I don't know if you get many adverts for credit rating apps for your phone. Do you get those? Why? Mm-hmm. I didn't know what my credit rating was until I was 42 years old. And yet they got all these youngsters with these apps. Okay, yeah, I know. Here's the big laughing smile there. It's these apps that you just press this button and suddenly your credit rating goes up. So instead of buying that really sad looking two-seater hatchback, okay, second hand with rust on it and just about barely goes, you can afford to buy this fancy one with go faster stripes and big exhausts on it. So youngsters are just committing themselves to get into more debt than they really need to. Okay. Credit rating agencies, all they're doing, they give it away for free because they are able to then sell your data and your information to people who want to sell you credit. And there's always somebody who will sell you credit, whatever you want. And this is how they work. But what they've done is they've sat down and they've looked at the psychology from a psychological perspective of the customers themselves. They understand how they think. And they've talked to people, they've interviewed loads of people, and plus they do all the digital data gathering that they get as well. And that can be expensive. And that's why I'm saying to you, you can do most of this just by having all your sales team in together and have a conversation about it and take notes and stick sticky pads up and then put all the information together. Okay, I gotta watch the time. I'm halfway through. Ooh, I'm really enjoying this. There's another one for something that's a bit more. You sell, a company sells drill bits, but what do people buy? They buy a hole. Yeah, that's what people are buying. So what they want is a quality hole that's accurate and consistent and fit for purpose. So if it's in steel, they need a steel drill. Okay, they want to put up a shelf. So they need to buy a drill to drill a hole in the wall. See, so it's not necessarily what you're selling, is what people are buying. So think, why are people buying a boiler? Okay, and just write them down. And if you can talk to your, are you the only salesperson with you or only marketing person?
On this call, yeah.
Yeah, on this call, you've got a team.
But on a team, yeah.
Yeah,
we have a team.
Share this out. Share this out and ask them to get involved. Okay. So in Toolstation, people go in to buy drill bits. They sell a drill. Yeah. Now this is an activity I want you to do. You can do it now if you want to, or you can leave it until afterwards with your team. I think this is better to do with your team. Choose one of your products. Okay. and then write down what you sell. So what is it? Describe it what it is. It's a machine for heating or cooking bake. It's a boiler that heats up a production line that cooks pastries as they go down the production line. There we are. Is that all right? Is that a good example?
Yes.
Yeah, there we are. So what are the people buying? Okay, so what are you selling? You're
Convenience.
selling a boiler. Okay, what are they buying? And we have talked it very briefly. Consistency, okay, low maintenance, long durability, so it'll run for a very long time because they'd be running production lines probably 24/7. Shift system, so it's constant. So once the boiler switched on, it'll stay on for days, weeks, months.
Yeah, really,
then,
the only time they shut down is for maintenance or cleanup.
Yeah, so they have a maintenance every so often and a cleanup, and that's when you is that when you actually sell in the maintenance package to go in to sort it out for them?
We try to do it in the beginning.
Yeah.
With the sale, just so that we still keep them as a customer post sale, but also it makes life a whole lot easier because normal customers don't regularly maintain their boilers, and then when they finally do call us, it's a lot of times it's beyond repair.
Yeah, and it means a lot of replacement parts for them afterwards. And you can either sell it as an insurance policy, some might do that, or you can sell it as a maintenance package, and a scheduled maintenance package that they can buy into at the beginning, and they either pay so much per month, and then you turn up once a year or twice a year during their downtimes to go in and do a full service on the boiler, and you cost everything out, and you make sure you get it worked out that way. So okay, right, not necessarily the same. So basically, selling and buying, it's not necessarily the same. Think about what and why customers buy can help you develop your communications to engage with your target customers. So when you do this, you can suddenly think, oh, right, I can write articles that can address this. They can become touch points. So you post them on your blog post, you broadcast it through social media, and it comes back in. Okay. Are you writing lots of notes down? Brilliant.
You can hear me?
I know I can. I hope, Whitney, you're doing the same. Right, so other activities and tools. One of the things that I find is excellent, have you come across personas?
I've heard them mentioned, but we haven't really delved into them, and I would like to, but I want to be able to explain it.
They're really easy and really fun to do. I think so anyway. And generally what I've advised people to do is to get a couple of bottles of wine and some nibbles and sit around and have a good laugh with a group of you in sales. Okay, people who've actually been frontline, who've talked to the customers. Okay, as well as people in the background as well, who do the processing and all the other stuff, who occasionally have a phone call. Even the receptionist who takes phone calls. Okay, that's important because they have little bits of information they can add into it. Just sit them around, get the glass of wines out, sit down, talk about it. There's got to be someone who's got to stay sober, unfortunately, because they've got to take notes. Okay, but you'll get all the post-it notes out and just talk through about the different types of customers. And you will find that there's probably only about 5 or 6 different personas for the different types of customers you get. Okay, and each deal with each one in turn. So there's going to be the there's going to be the food production company, and ask the question, who initiates this normally? Is it the purchasing manager? Is it the specifier? Is it the production line specifier?
It depends. If it's a plant expansion or a new plant, it would probably be the EPC, the engineering company.
Yeah.
If it's a replacement, it would probably be the plant manager or the facilities director.
Yeah. Okay.
Purchasing usually comes in after the fact. After all of those other people have put in their recommendations.
So one of your targets will be the engineering company, the specifier.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's one persona you can do, a specifier. And talk about him. What's his family life like? Where does he live? How much does he earn? Is he a patient individual, or is he get it done, get it done, get it done? Because each of you in the sales team would have met a specifier at some stage.
Okay.
Okay, and try and understand them. What sort of technology do they use? Because that can indicate how you communicate with them. Do they use social media? Or do they think that that's a waste of time? I'd rather get out into an exhibition and shake hands with people and talk to them. Okay, so you can start understanding. When you were young, you used to get presents from your grandparents and your parents, and Uncle George, who was a real bit of a lad, and he was very funny. He was your favorite uncle. Do you have a favorite uncle or aunt?
I do.
Yeah. Is it an aunt or an uncle?
An uncle.
Oh, brilliant. They're always brilliant. I used to be my niece and nephew's favorite uncle. They used to call me Unky because I was always the little devil, basically, and I used to babysit a lot years ago. And I used to sort of lie on the floor and play Monopoly with them and other games. And they just loved the time I spent with them. And it's quite funny. When I used to give them a present, I didn't often give them presents because they had my time. But when I used to give them a present, like at Christmas or birthday, they always have to write a note. And it would be, "Hi, Unky. Thank you ever so much for the present. I'll treasure it, or I'll love it forever." And when my brother, I got a twin brother, and he's a little bit more, how can I put this? And I'm quite happy to say this in public. He's more of what's the word? When he was 20, he was going on 40. Do you understand? He was
Yes.
always old for his years, and he's grumpy. He can be grumpy as well. And they didn't have the same relationship with him. So whenever he used to buy them a present, because it was traditional in the family to buy your nieces presents. They used to get a letter from him or card from him, and on it would be, "Dear Uncle Chris." Whereas mine was, "Hi, Unky." Okay, because they knew they knew they could talk to me like that, and that's why I was always a bit more fun. And it's the same. You probably found the same thing. Is when you're writing to that great aunt, okay, who's given you a gift, and you've been made to write this thing. You say, "Dear great Aunt Ethel, okay, thank you so much for your very kind gift. I shall wear it when the warmer weather comes," or whatever, if it's some sort of gift like that. I'm just making that off the top of my head. But the thing is, you write it in a totally different way to your favorite uncle, who is, "Hi, Uncle Bert, thanks for the prezi. It's brilliant. I love it. Okay, I've already been skating down the street and bashing into trash cans and other things and creating chaos and mayhem." That's the whole thing about it. It is one of those things. Funny. So that's personas. And if you want, let me know, and I'll send you a template to follow.
Please.
Yes. It's quite comprehensive, but the more you can get into that, and the beauty of that template is at the bottom, you can add in sections to say, what sort of content should we put for this customer? What are the 10 questions that these customers ask all the time? And you've got answers for them. So when you get a new team member in, they've got this catalog of different types of personas they can go and read and understand your types of customers. It's something so few people do. They just say, "Oh, they're this, that, and the other, and that's it." But do a bit of background as well. A little backstory so they give them a personality. Okay. Right. Is it some more chats here? Sorry, Whitney. Let's see. They're selling us debt. Yeah, that's right. I remember that was what I've learned about personas. They're on my list for 2023. Okay, that's great. And what we'll do is I'll send you, Whitney, a template as well. Okay, I think I've got some words written somewhere about how to put it all together. Okay, right, SEO Minion. That's a piece of software you can download. Okay, and I'm going to stop sharing for a second and move over to I'm going to share. I've still got it open. board iPhone. Oh, there we are. That one there. Share. And I'm not sure whose this is. No, let's go to somebody. Can you see that one? No. That's you, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Right. I have to move that over there. On here, I've got this one, this little thing. See it, SEO Minion? It's something you can download from Chrome, for Chrome. It's a
Okay.
plugin for Chrome. Okay. And what it does, it gives you a little, immediately, it shows you things. Okay. So it shows the title there, Complete Boiler Room Solutions, Claver-Brooks. Okay. And 47 out of 60 characters. That's great, because you're allowed 60 characters in your title, in your meta title, and you've used them up. I would actually think of, because the website is claverbrooks.com, your name is already in there in the most powerful position as far as search engine optimization is concerned.
Okay.
Okay, so I would say Complete Boiler Room Solutions. You sell boilers.
Mm-hmm.
So shouldn't you be saying boilers and boiler room solutions?
Okay.
So if someone is looking at boilers, or commercial boilers it is, so let's get the commercial word in there. Commercial boilers and boiler room solutions. That's what I would choose as a title for your homepage.
Got it.
Okay, so have a think about it. Claver-Brooks is a total solutions provider for boilers. See, the word boilers comes well down the line, and I would try and get that at the beginning, because Google looks for the keywords as early as possible in that statement.
Okay.
Okay, so if you can get the keyword, which is boilers, commercial boilers, and boiler room solutions. Okay.
Do we even need to start with Claver-Brooks? Because it's like,
No,
we're already on the
because
website.
again,
We're definitely not talking about Amazon.
Claver-Brooks are in the domain name.
Yeah.
So if someone types in Claver-Brooks, unless there's 50 million other Claver-Brooks out there, and I don't think there are. Okay, but if someone says Claver-Brooks boilers, it's going to come up because almost the first word is boilers.
Okay.
Okay, so have a think about that. I mean, SEO is a real interesting thing. And then if you look down here, you've got a whole series of headings in who we are, partner with us, partners with. See, at the moment, you've got, that's great. That bit there is brilliant. Sustainable boiler room solutions. Okay, because everyone knows straight away when they see that, the word boiler room throws itself out at you. Okay, and it's your H1 ref. See it here?
Mm-hmm.
See, it's gone yellow there to highlight it. But there's a rule in SEO, never have more than 2 H1 refs on a page.
Oh, wow.
And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but the thing is, let's look at them. Partner with us. What? No one's going to type in partner with us. It's not I don't think it as a second level, a H2 ref, yeah, fine, but not a H1. Okay, and also when someone arrives at the website, they want to know immediately what it does.
Okay.
Okay, solutions, H1 solutions, H1 recent highlights, H2 bold sustainability goals. So you've mentioned boiler rooms and boilers once in all those headings. Okay, I'm just observing. Okay, it's what you do with this is up to you, but I think it's worth having a look into that. Okay, and again, when you go to a different page, then if I switch that off there and we go to one of your products, boilers, why not? And fire tube boilers, that sounds good. So let's go to one product. Okay, look at Minion, complete boiler room solutions again. Why isn't it called a CBEX fire tube boiler in your title? Because that's what it is.
That's a good question.
Let me check this and make sure I've got it. Let's switch that off. Close it. Switch it on. Analyze SEO. Oh, it is. I'm sorry. It was still
Okay.
counting the old stuff. 2HD. Yep. Look, see those 2H1 refs? They're both the same. Brilliant.
Can
Okay.
you highlight the second one? I want to see where it is. Okay.
Yeah. It's there and it's there. But the treatment of that one is different from that one.
Okay.
But that's fine. Product overview. What product? Fire tube overview. Call it what it is. Okay, and then you've got applications here and attributes, literature, drawings, technical data. Brilliant. And it's quite good because there's tabs there for people to have a look at. Do you talk about how long it takes to order, make, deliver, install? How long the projects last?
I do, because a lot of the times they're very long lead times.
Yeah. Okay.
Nigel, what is that little orange or yellowish pyramid? Yeah.
Yeah, that says that Google has been showing between 150 and 160 characters of the meta description, okay, since 2019. They only show the first 150 characters, and you've got 293 in that.
Okay.
So it's basically what it says is cut it back to 150 characters. So make those words count.
Okay.
You don't have to put the Cleaver Brooks CBEX in there. Featuring EX technologies. See, I would be talking about what it's used for. And if you want to get low emission CBEX fire tube boiler for, what's it used for?
I never keep them straight. We'd have to go to the applications page.
Oh, that, okay. Industrial processing, heating, sterilization, humidification, hospital and healthcare. Brilliant. See, I'd have that further up, but that's me. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you how to design the website. I've learned about personas. Thanks, Nigel. Okay. Right. Where else am I? Okay.
Give me one second, Nigel.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I still have time.
Okay. Right. Sorry, I shouldn't do this. I've really only got 5 minutes left because I should never go over the hour. But I'll be as quick as I can. It's not much left to it now. I've lost where I was. Oh, right. Okay. And there's another one then called keywords everywhere. Okay, there are other things you can do with SEO Minion, and it's worth looking into it when you're doing your search results, because it starts to look for you can use it to actually download what people ask, or people also ask, PAAs. Okay, have you seen it in search where you do a search on something and then after there's a little gap and then it says people also ask? And with Minion, you can actually download the first 2 or 3 levels of those questions. Now, if people are asking those questions related to the key phrases you're chasing after in your for your business, you can actually then start writing articles about those questions that people ask relevant to your industry. Okay. And as I said, look up keywords everywhere as well. So, action points. Take what you've learned, use the tools we mentioned, and carry out the same activity for all of your products and services. How many products do you have? Hundreds. Hundreds?
Several. No, not hundreds.
Oh, right.
Whew, please.
What I would suggest is do one, get used to the actual system and the process with a team together, and then do another one. Don't do too many at the same time because the confusion picks up.
Okay.
And just work through them, and then think, and then build a library. This is the important thing, is building this library of personas and of your products and what people are looking for in that particular thing, because somebody buying a steaming machine isn't necessarily the same as somebody who's going to be buying one that that produces raw heat for cooking, for baking. Okay. Apply these insights to your marketing. It's as simple as that. Just apply those insights, what you've learned about your customers. Any questions?
No, all the ones that I had, you answered as you continue talking, so I have no questions.
Okay. Do you mind? Have I spoken too much? Have I talked too much?
No.
Good. So you can go and tell everyone about me, and it's great. As long as you feedback that it's great. I'm going to stop recording now because I don't need to know anymore.